Thank you for having me.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor of having a bare knuckle boxing athlete, but he's a multi-sport athlete because obviously to compete in bare knuckle, he's pretty versed in other forms of combat sports. That is one, Brian Maxwell. Brian, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Man. Other than the fact that I'm pretty much burning up here in California, it's quite hot, quite hot. But I'm doing all right. I'm here with you, and we're talking about your career thus far and how you chose BKFC as your promotional home.
Yeah, it's pretty hot here in Virginia right now too. It's like just now starting to cool off a little bit. Like it's been like 90 plus degrees all day, and I'm just now getting out of the gym like 20 minutes ago, and I had to go fill up with gas and get me some Gatorades to hydrate after being out in that hot gym. But I like it that way. I'd rather be in a hot environment than somewhere where it's like cooled and have air conditioning. I'd rather show that I'm grinding and sweating and being hot and miserable. The grind is real. I'd rather it be that way.
No, and I mean, it's you definitely take pressure to turn a coal to diamond, and make it a diamond. And it seems like dealing with the warmer weather and what have you. In terms of fights, extreme temperatures, whether it be extremely cold, in the kind of Eastern European bloc or Colorado, or extremely hot like the East Coast and sometimes the West Coast can get. I mean, it's almost it sets you apart in terms of other fighters, in your sport.
Uh, I mean, I'd rather go to a place like Colorado or something like that because of the higher elevation, and you'll get like better training and less whole lot more dense air, so you can't breathe, but also you can breathe to help with your cardio. So to each his own, I guess.
No, 100%, 100%. Now, obviously, you represent the fighting sport of Virginia on your back, but how did you become involved in the combat sports realm? Is there a pretty big scene out there?
I mean, here in Virginia, I mean, it's a decent size scene. I mean, when I first started doing mixed martial arts, I mean, it was I didn't know the game yet, so it was things to me were scarce, and I didn't know about all these other promotions out here, and this that, and the third. My first fight, I literally fought in a farmhouse, like literally for Ruckus in a Cage. Yeah, I fought in a farmhouse. It literally had cows on the other side of the building and hay and stuff on the inside of the building. I literally fought inside of a field farmhouse. It was nuts. And Ken Shamrock was there for my first fight, so that was pretty awesome.
Because why not, right? The former world's most dangerous man, a farmhouse, and a couple of lights. I mean that's a pretty good first outing, right?
Yeah, like after the fight, cause I literally knocked my opponent out in 25 seconds. He literally shook my hand as I was coming out of the cage, and that was pretty fucking awesome because it's like, Ken Shamrock. I watched this man wrestle in WWF and late UFC fights, most of my life. So I'm like, holy shit, and
Yeah,
that
man.
was
You
that was
think
fucking awesome.
now when that fight occurred, that was in mixed martial arts, right? It was in MMA.
Yes, yes, sir. It was my very first MMA fight. I was super nervous. I never sat down that day except for when I ate after weigh-ins because I did same day weigh-ins. Other guys weighed in the day before, but I never sat down. And I was like the 16th fight on the card. So for a couple of hours, I was walking around, punching stuff and headbutting stuff. I'm a nervous wreck, and I mean, listen to music, singing out loud, and just being belligerent because I was nervous. I was scared. It was crazy. Like it was fucking awesome though. So it turned out in my favor. I got a 25-second knockout, so that was awesome against a guy from a big jiu-jitsu school in Tennessee, and he was already 2-0, and I knew nothing. I knew nothing but how to wrestle and throw my hands a little bit. So that's why I was so nervous.
Now, was that a amateur or professional? Because out here in California, um, they do same day weigh-ins for the amateur fights. Same
Uh-huh.
day weigh-ins, and then you fight later on that night. Very similar to Brazilian jiu-jitsu competitions. So was your first fight
Yeah, it
a
was my very
amateur?
first amateur. It was my very first amateur fight. So that it was nuts to even be fighting because I've wrestled since I was 12, 13 years old, and I'm sitting in my college dorm room watching UFC fights for the first time, and that's what really sparked my interest in doing mixed martial arts. And after college, I dabbled in life a little bit, and I was like, you know what, I want to start fighting, and I knew nothing about it. I mean, I knew not how to get into it. I didn't know anybody who did it or anything. Like I was clueless to the game when I first started. I just logged on the computer one day and seen that Ruckus in the Cage was having fights. To come to my knowledge, it was real popular in my area actually for years, and I've been to a fight, but I forgot about it, and I just happened to be looking it up, and boom, they had a fight coming up a few months later. So I'm like, shit, fuck it, I'm gonna sign up. And less than 24 hours, the promoter called me, and he offered me a fight. And being a wrestler, I don't care what anybody's record is and how much experience they got. I'm gonna do it because even being a wrestler, a person can have a million wrestling matches, and you never know it, but or you do know it, and you still got to go against that person. You feel what I'm saying? So so being the competitive person I am, I took the fight and I was happy about it, and so that started my journey with mixed martial arts.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And it's funny. Looking back, you don't know what you don't know, right? I mean, you're just like, I can get licensed. Let's do this. And again, having that pivotal kind of foundation in wrestling. I mean, to me, that's one of the the premier foundational attributes that you can gain as an overall mixed martial arts. Because if you can get a amazing wrestler and you could teach him how to box a little bit. You can might teach him a move or two in jiu-jitsu, at the very least, the takedown defense, and bam, there you go. It's amazing, right?
and
But
and and that's
you
oh,
were
my
saying?
bad. Oh, that's
No, go ahead.
exactly what I did. I wrestled in middle school. I wrestled in high school, and I wrestled all the way to college. So of course, that was going to be my foundation going into the fight. But I also linked up with a guy. His name is Matt Hogan. I met him. I started to get in shape, and I just so happened to be in Planet Fitness. Getting my cardio up and doing things to get back in shape because my game plan was I got this fight. I don't know nobody around here that trains, so I'm just going to rely on my wrestling and beat this guy up. But, I happened to see a guy with an MMA shirt on, and by chance, I just said, fuck it. I'm just going to talk to this guy, see if he knows anything about MMA gyms in the area or anything. And, we got the rapping, and that's how it happened. And we started training. And, he took me to a boxing gym, and I started at Champs Boxing Gym, and it's probably one of the biggest boxing gyms in my city at the time because I didn't know any other boxing gyms at that time here. And he took me there. I was there like 4 or 5 days a week training, and I learned how to box a little bit. Of course, I fought in the streets when I was younger and this, that, and the third. But street hands and boxing hands are two totally different things. You feel what I'm saying? So I had to learn how to box a little bit before this fight just in case my wrestling didn't work. So, like I said, I knew nothing about this game except for what I watched on YouTube and on TV, and I couldn't translate that stuff to myself because didn't have anybody to work with until I met this guy, and we got the rapping. That's how it happened. We showed up to the fight, knocked the guy out in 25 seconds, and boom, that was the start of my amateur career.
Now, how far did you go? I mean, what was your record as a amateur?
I finished 10-8. and I won no contest in my amateur career, and I won 7 different titles in 3 weight classes. I won one in heavyweight, and then I run the rest up in light heavyweight and middleweight. So I finished my amateur career as a 7-time champion in multiple promotions. I pretty much had almost a belt in every promotion in the state except for three promotions in like the beach area of Virginia. But that's a different subject because I always wanted to fight on those promotions, but they wanted to do like any other promotion, protect their champions, and I felt like I was a threat, and they knew I was a threat to their champions, and I never got on those fight cards, so it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Now, did you end up after your, I mean, literally 7 championships on a, your 7 championships as an amateur? Um, did you kind of have your ear kind of pointed towards firmly towards going pro, or was there something else that kind of suited your fancy?
I mean, you know, with those 7 titles, I wanted more, but I also felt that I had nothing else to prove. But I wanted more experience, and you know, before I decided to make the decision to go pro, I could have had you know 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more fights, but I was having bad luck with fights. I was trying to get fights in other states, things would fall through, and I was trying to get fights in my state, they would fall through. So for a whole year and a half, I couldn't get a fight. So one day I was like, you know what? I mean, I can't get a fight. I bust my ass. I have nothing else to prove at the amateur level. So let's start training and let's take it to the next level. And people told me, 4 or 5 fights in that I should go pro. And my thing is, I'm not going to listen to people that's in my ear telling me to do something, because if I would have went then with the experience that I had, I'd be probably in a thousand right now, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to take the time to fix some holes in my game and continue to evolve before I went to the next level. And like I said, for like a whole year and a half, I didn't have any fights at all. All I did was literally train 6 to 7 days a week. I mean, I had my little burnout phase, but that went away quickly. But I got ready. I stayed training. I was in the gym heavy, just like I am now. It became a part of my life. That whole year and a half that I didn't fight, I was training. I was getting ready for the next level, and when I finally got a call from a local promotion, because they were starting to have pro fights here in the town that I live in, and I was like, hell yeah! I got an opponent. I was happy about it. My coaches and my team were happy about it, and it fell through actually, and so I had to sit for 2 weeks without an opponent after I had started to cut the weight. And you know I ended up getting another opponent at a weight class that I haven't been in a long time, since I was in college. I usually fight at 185 or 205, but I got offered a fight at a catch weight of 175. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's my foot in the door. It's the start of my pro career. So fuck it. Let's take it. And I felt good about the opponent. He's actually supposed to fight one of my teammates. And in the midst of them two supposed to be fighting, my teammate got hurt, and then he got hurt, so the fight never happened. So I'm an opportunist, so I said, "Fuck it, let's take it."
No, for sure. Man, that's literally like a lemony snicket, series of unfortunate events. Literally, for you not being able to find a fight. I mean, 72 weeks. I mean, that's damn near a year, if not. I don't know. Is that a year? That's a year, right?
It was
Over a
like a
year?
whole year and a it was like a year and a half that I didn't even fight. Like I had so many fights lined up, but I couldn't get a fight. Like people would back out, or people would accept and be like, "Nah, I don't want to fight. I don't want to take a chance." I had one guy literally. We were about to leave to go to weigh-ins, and all of a sudden I got a text message and a phone call from a promoter, and it's like, "Oh, the guy decided last minute he doesn't want to fight," and I literally cut. I spent literally 6 weeks cutting like 25 pounds. I mean, I didn't bitch about it, but I was upset because I put in all that work, and the fight fell through like literally last minute. Like it fucking sucked. I mean, it pissed me off, but what can you do about it? It's part of the game. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, I mean, was that your kind of reasoning to kind of step away from mixed martial arts and pursue, a career of bare knuckle, or
No, not
was
at
there some
all.
iteration?
No, not at all. I didn't even know nothing about bare knuckle then. Like when I first went pro, like this year will make my fourth year as a professional fighter, and when I went pro, I nobody knew nothing about bare knuckle coming to the United States or anything. Like literally 2 years into my pro career, that's when I started hearing about bare knuckle boxing, and I've been watching it ever since it. I've watched it and been a part of a few shows since day one. I watched the first show that they had in out west, and I mean that sparked my interest. And then BKFC two, one of my training partners, Bruce and Bramsky, got a chance to fight on one of their cards, and he asked me to corner him, and I went there to BKFC two, and when I showed up, like a lot of the guys and like the media thought I was fighting, but I had just fought my one, two, three, four. I fought like my fifth pro fight like 2 weeks before against a guy that not really was a rival, but he was a two-time two-division champion for one of those promotions when I was an amateur that wouldn't accept the fight with me because they knew I was a threat. So 2 weeks prior to BKFC two, I fought the guy that I say was an enemy at the time, but he's a real good friend now. I talk to him sometimes, and we've offered to train with each other, but we also want to do a rematch with each other because I beat him in the first round when we finally did fight, and we went to BKFC two, and a lot of fighters in media thought I was fighting. And I was like, no, 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 I'm not fighting. My partner right here is fighting, and I did. I actually ESPN was happened to be there, and they had the cameras all on me, and I was like, oh shit! Like it made me nervous because they kind of put me on the spotlight, and I was like, no, 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 I'm not fighting. My guy right here is fighting, and I don't like to. I'm the guy. I don't like to take nobody else's shine. You feel what I'm saying? That's not the type of person I am. You feel what I'm saying? I'd rather get my own shine on my own than take it from somebody else.
No, that's amazing. Now, I want to get to the scene, because obviously, your training partner is fighting, but you're getting all of that attention. Um, what I guess misconceptions did you have of? I mean, what kind of ideas did you have about bare knuckle fighting? After seeing that first one, and being there at the second one, uh, what kind of misconceptions did you have that were dashed, or I mean, what was that thought process like?
I mean, it when I watched the first show, I mean, it really sparked my interest, and I didn't think it would be a part of my journey, but when I got to BKFC two, I went on a run as a pro. I won two fights in a row, and I was on a little bit of a hot streak. And well, to me, I was on a little bit of a hot streak. I felt very, very good about myself. I got two big wins over two ranked guys in a row, and so I was kind of full of myself, and but my main focus was on my training partner and his fight. But like I said, I'm not the type of person to take somebody else's shine. So it sparked my interest, and I got offered a fight at BKLC two, and I was like, it's not my time for this right now because I'm not here for that. I'm here for my training partner and to do what we came here to do for him, not myself. You feel what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm an opportunist, but that was an opportunity that I missed right then and there. But you know, I felt like it wasn't my time yet. But I was very, very interested in the fight that they offered me. But at the same point in time, I wasn't there for that. You feel what I'm saying?
So then, when does it actually, when all those little whispers and nagging from, the brass there at Bare Knuckle Fighting, start to kind of become more than whispers, that became a little bit more substantial, that you did consider, hey, this might be a way to kind of fortify my journey in combat sports?
Well, like literally months after that, I'm watching shows and watching more shows, and I've watched every single show that Bare Knuckles had from top to bottom. Even the shows that I've been on, I've watched every splitting second of every show. So, you know, it sparked my interest more and more, and I've been running my mouth a little bit about doing it, and I said the next opportunity that I get, I'm going to take it. So, months went by, and it just happened to, I followed their pace since day one. So, they posted that they were having tryouts like 6 hours away from where I'm at in Philadelphia, and you know, I'm a Washington Redskins fan, so me going to Philly was like, no, I'm never going to Philly. But I had a brother die like 2 years ago, and he's a big Philly fan. So I promised to him that my promise to him, the day of his funeral, was to take a trip to Philly, and just so happened, they had a tryouts in Philly. So I was like, you know what, this is my opportunity. This is a sign from my brother also. So me and another guy, Kane Tomlinson, from this area, and one of my training partners and good friends, Rick Caruso, that fights out of West Virginia. We were like, fuck it, let's go. And I was super hyped up about it. So I'm taking this chance, taking my opportunity, and took the drive, showed up and showed out at tryouts, and after tryouts were over, I talked to Mr. Feldman and I talked to the matchmaker, and you know, I didn't know if I did well enough, but they told me what I needed to do to be a part of the team. And I was like, of course I'm gonna be professional about it. I'm like, yes sir, yes sir. And from then on out, I was like, I know what I got to do. So I'm looking for my next fight, and I couldn't find a fight. And so like 2 months went by, and the area I live in, we were having pro fights, and I was like, hell yes, I don't care who I fight, just give me somebody, because I'm going to prove to them my why I want to be a part of the bare knuckle boxing team. And I got an opponent. Like as always, I took my 6 weeks to prepare for it from top to bottom. I spent countless hours in the gym, like super late nights in the gym in the sauna, and traveled to other gyms to prepare for this fight. And I did what I needed to do, and I got the dub in this fight. And after my fight, I got surprised that night. I knew the matchmaker was there because he's a good friend of the promoter, but they surprised me and offered me a fight, and I was like, hell yes, my journey begins, and now we're
Yeah,
here.
that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think I mean, it tugs at the heartstrings. You had, my condolences on the loss of your brother, but it was kind of fitting, maybe he was making a way, for you to not only, you know, visit the team of, I mean, visit the birthplace of the team that he loves so much, but also to
Exactly.
provide, pardon?
I said exactly. Like I really do not like the Philadelphia Eagles at all. Like the rivalry between me and my brother when he was live was like real. We would literally bet 20, 50, $100 every time they played, the Redskins and the Eagles played each other. And like I said, I never ever wanted to go to Philly, but I promised him, at it, at his gravesite on the day of his funeral, that if the opportunity came, I would go to Philly. And like I said, just so happened, Bare Knuckle was holding tryouts in Philly, and I'm an opportunity, so I decided to take the opportunity because it was my second chance. So I decided to take it and got the rapping, and that's how it happened.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, in terms of the training, obviously, I mean the tryout, because obviously you had been there on kind of ground zero for bare knuckle fighting too. Um, but what was the training like? What did it consist of? And obviously you have your foundation in wrestling. Was it hard to kind of just do striking and a different striking than what you're used to?
I mean, it's at first it was hard because I had to take myself away from taking somebody down or head kicking somebody or throwing a liver shot to a kick to the liver or something like that. And at heart it was at first it was a little hard, but the transition. I mean, it was a little hard, but then as the weeks progressed, it got a little bit easier. And I told myself, with being bare knuckle boxing, I wasn't going to let my other abilities slip. So I still continued to train with my jujitsu and my Muay Thai, and I just stepped up my boxing a whole lot more because MMA striking is different from boxing striking. You feel what I'm saying? So I linked up with I have a striking coach. His name is Randy Richer, and I also have a new striking coach. And but I'm still with Randy, but we've added an additional striking coach at my gym, and his name is David Hopkins, and he's been a long time boxer and a coach in the area. So that's definitely helping me tremendously right now. And right now I'm just waiting for a phone call. Like it's awesome. I love this part of my journey. I'm getting so much better even during the quarantine. I was still getting my work in, not with people, but I was still shadow boxing and hitting the bag and doing workouts by myself. So right now I'm playing the waiting game, and I'm ready to fight at any point in time. Like I literally started my diet and my fight camp today. So if I get the call, I know there's 18 more days until BKFC 11. If I get the call that somebody drops out, just know that Brian Maxwell is on the way.
Dude, let's sound the drum for. I mean, you did mention that you were a fan of the Redskins, and I guess it's pretty apropos that we should sound the drum for all of the brass at BKFC. If somebody steps out for any reason, Brian Maxwell's your guy.
Exactly. I'm a fighter, man. It's a part. It's me. I've done karate when I was a kid. I didn't like it, but I done it, and then I've been a wrestler all most of my life, and I've loved it. And combat sports I feel like is what God put me here for. It's what He blessed me with the abilities and the talent that I have, and I'm an open book to learning more, and I feel that's what I'm here for. You feel what I'm saying? It's what I know, it's what I do, and it's what I love to do, and it's a part of my journey. You only live once, so whatever part of your journey is, whether it's good or bad, you got to ride it till the wheels fall off, as my stepdad would say.
He's a wise man. He's a wise man. To live give you that kernel and that morsel of knowledge. Now, as a wrestling fan, uh, you've heard in your youth, much like I did, Howard Finkel talk about the squared circle, or in the WCW, that's a Southern promotion. Gary Michael Capetta, talk about the squared circle. But BKFC's ring is literally a squared circle.
Yeah,
Um,
man, it's
what's
it's
it like?
fucking awesome.
What's it like? I mean, it's an incredible image. It almost it reminds me of like TNA's eight-sided ring or six-sided ring, I should say, or the UFC octagon. It's a square circle. What is that kind of platform like to fight on versus the MMA cages and boxing rings that you're used to?
I mean, like when I first stepped to the squared circle for the first time at BKFC 2 with my training partner, I was like, holy shit, like this is weird. I literally took a full circle walk around the squared circle on the inside and the outside, and like I was one amazed, and two I was like, holy shit. If I ever get the chance to fight in this would be badass because this is literally a squared circle, and it's fucking awesome. Like the there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide in the squared circle. It's bang it out, and it's just like literally, like I said, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. You get to do what you love to do, and that's bang it out. As Julian Lane would say, "Let me bang, bro."
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Now it's kind of cool, right? I mean, obviously we talked about the squared circle, but also the way that you start your fights. Obviously in MMA and in boxing, there's the referee, and he kind of stands you at a particular spot in the ring or the cage and what have you. And you start from there, but there's a literal physical line that you kind of have to step on,
Yep,
before
this
you.
line right here, total line,
Yep.
baby. And that
So
that
I mean,
torn,
what is that? What is that like? That's pretty cool.
yeah, that's definitely a totally different experience. Like my first fight, it kind of messed me up because, you know, like I said, I've wrestled most of my life, and when you wrestle, you're kind of you're towing the line at the beginning of a fight, and I hadn't towed the line literally in so long. Like literally, when I first towed the line in my first BKFC fight, it messed me up a little bit. I felt at home, but it messed me up a little bit because I hadn't towed a line in so long that it made me nervous. But now my second fight, I was ready for it. Like it's a different feeling. You know, I trained. I made some stuff at my gym so I could toe the line and practice what I was gonna do off rip, towing the line, and the second time I was comfortable. I was at home again, and I felt like I belonged. Feel what I'm saying?
No, 100%. Now, it's funny because bare knuckle fighting, whether it be BKFC or other promotions, they're in a similar situation where MMA and the UFC were 25 years ago, right? Where you have some pay-per-view deals and what have you. But let's look at the crystal ball. Where would you like to see bare knuckle fighting on BKFC specifically in the next 5 years?
Honestly, for real, in my honest opinion, within the next 5 years, people are going to be saying UFC who, because bare knuckle boxing is growing so fast right now, and it's only been here for 2 years, and it's growing and growing and growing, and this is going to be show 11. And I don't know if it's true or not, but I think they got a new pay-per-view deal, so it's going to be on a different platform to reach more people. But I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I heard from a leak. But I'm not gonna go too much into that. But it's the fastest growing sport in the world right now. People are starting to say the UFC is boring. They're tired of seeing people lay on each other. But it's the biggest platform in the world, and it's the most popular. But within the next 5 years, I can almost guarantee people are going to be saying UFC who, because bare knuckle, all the signings of people that they're signing, and guys like me that have been signed with them and getting popular and popular, and my name and my brand is growing. Even the ex UFC guys, ex Bellator guys that they're signing, and ex professional boxers that they're signing. Those fan bases right there alone, that's millions and millions of people, man. And even the new fans, people are loving this. Like literally last weekend, me and one of my training partners went to Tennessee to get fireworks, and I literally had on my BKFC tryout shirt on and my BKFC hat, and I went to get gas, and coming out of the store, this random guy was like, "Oh shit, you got a BKFC shirt on? Do you fight for BKFC?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And I told him my name, and he's like, "Holy shit, I fucking met a BKFC fighter." And he asked me about my social media and stuff, and literally right then and there, he started following me on Instagram and sent me a friend request on Facebook, and that to me was like big in itself, because I'm literally in another state, and a fan of bare knuckle boxing comes up to me and says something about it. So that was awesome. So that
Yeah,
that right
man.
there, that right there lets you know that the sport is growing and reaching different people, because literally I had like a little 10-minute conversation with the guy, and he's like, UFC's kind of getting a little boring, and I'm tired of seeing the same stuff over and over again, and with bare knuckles, you're not going to see the same thing over and over again. It's either going to be a bloodbath or it's going to be a quick knockout. Like it's different, it's fun, man, and it's a new wave. You feel what I'm saying? It's the next biggest thing in the world. And like I said, within the next 5 years, people are really going to be saying UFC who,
Yeah,
my
I mean
honest opinion.
the lengths and bounds that it's grown in 2 years is pretty amazing. The fact that you can get to state recognition, that's pretty dang cool. You know that I mean the want and the need of the populace is there, and that's got to be an incredible feeling.
Exactly. Like this is so different to me. Like here, where I fight out of Roanoke, Virginia. Here, I'm a local guy. Everybody knows me, and all most of my fights, MMA fights, and stuff. I've traveled to different parts of the state, and I traveled to different states to train and different states to compete. And I kind of built my name that way. But with bare knuckle boxing, like with a couple days ago, marked a year since I signed with them, and my fan base has quadrupled since then. Like win, lose, or draw, these past two fights haven't went my way with bare knuckle, but my fan base because has went through the roof. Like it's phenomenal. I've gotten sponsors that I didn't think I would ever get. I started with two sponsors before I went to BKFC, and now it's like I have people knocking on my door to sponsor me, and I have people blowing me up to manage me too. But it's a part of the game, and I love it right now. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna it's part of my journey, and I'm loving it.
That's amazing. I mean, and that's the stuff that dreams are literally made of. My goodness, to get the not just the recognition, but also, a lot of times in combat sports, people who are dealing with, whether it be mental strife, physical strife or financial strife, whatever it may be, you know, I feel like in combat sports, people are more apt to essentially hitch their wagon to their favorite fighter because they're living vicariously through you, and you winning is them winning in life. And they go into ace their SAT, and they pass the bar exam after watching you fight, pass their medical exams and become doctors and lawyers and what have you. So it's not just the combat sports realm where it motivates people. It motivates people to do other things. And that's why a lot of times in combat sports, when the athletes do move away from the sport, they are able to apply that success into other avenues, into podcasts, into real estate and whatever, and get just as much of notoriety and success as they did in their combat sports career.
Exactly, and like I tell people, man, like literally, I'm just a simple country boy from a small town. I mean, everybody knows about the small town. They call it the moonshine capital of the world, but you know, not many people where I'm from make it or have the chance to make it because of situations. You feel what I'm saying? I didn't grow up with everything I wanted. I didn't grow up, with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't grow up with everything handed to me. Literally since day one, my mother has taught me you have to, if you want something, you have to get it on your own. And you know, her marrying my stepfather, he taught me the same thing. You got to get what you want by any means necessary, and you got to work your ass off for it. You feel what I'm saying? Because me myself, I spent plenty of days and nights inside of a barn with bales of hay, tossing bales of hay, and picking corn and riding on the back of tractors and stuff like that, man. Like I didn't have it easy, and I literally can tell people and try to motivate people that I literally started at the bottom, literally, because I didn't, like I said, my parents, my mom and stepdad weren't the richest, but they weren't the poorest either. But at times things were super hard for us, and I'm blessed and happy to be where I am right now because, like I said, not many people where I'm from have to have a chance to make it out and do something with this still. Even though I only live literally 45 minutes away from where I'm from, but still I moved to a different city and got an opportunity to finally do what I told myself I was going to do, and we here now. We're at a different level. We've made it to a bigger stage in life, and I love it. I'm blessed. I'm happy, and I thank everybody, my family, my friends, everyone that's been a part of this journey with me. Because literally, like when I first started, nobody knew who I was except for a few local people from me wrestling in this area, but nobody knew me in this fight game. You know, people always ask, "Oh God, who's that guy? He looks like a bum." But I would show them different the second I stepped into that stage, inside that cage, or on those mats. You feel what I'm saying? Like literally within a year of me fighting, I'm pretty sure almost this whole state of Virginia knew who I was.
That's amazing. That's amazing, and especially the fact that you've been able to, whatever success and high and low that you've had, you've been able to have it there in your own community, and that's amazing to never forget where you came from. Now,
Exactly.
yeah, absolutely. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Now we're looking about a year's time, right? Obviously, this 2020 COVID situation has thrown everybody in a loop. But like as you say, in a week's time, BKFC 11 happens, right? July 11th. Where do you
No,
see
it's
yourself?
July 20. It's July 24th.
Oh, July 24th, right? So within the
Yes,
month.
it's on a Friday night, so it's 2 weeks away. Well, I can say it like this: it's 18 days away. Let's put it for that way. It's 18 days away. I'm ready to either, if somebody drops out, be a part of it. I'm definitely going to watch it regardless. I'm either going to watch it on pay per view, or I'm going to take the drive to watch my fellow brothers and sisters of the BKFC roster put in work. You feel what I'm saying? So they show me support, so I'm going to show them support. You feel what I'm saying?
And that's all it is. The amount of respect and love that permeates the combat sports realm. Whether it be MMA, boxing, kickboxing, what have you. This community, no matter where you train, how you train, whatever, you end up becoming closer because you forge battles together with your team, with the fans that have been with you ever since day one. It's a
Exactly.
fortification.
And my thing is too, like you said earlier, I will never, ever, ever, ever forget where I came from and where I started. Because, in my opinion, when people forget those things, that's when careers and money and friends and stuff go away, and people forget about you because you forgot about them. You feel what I'm saying? And that's something I promise myself, my son, and my family and my teammates. I will never forget where I came from. I started at the bottom, and I worked my way up. I've busted my ass to get where I'm at. There's a few haters, that got more experience than me talking shit because I'm where I'm at, and they're not. But like I tell people, you you have the same opportunity that I have. I just took a different route, and I worked a little bit harder to get it. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna like till this day I haven't forgotten where I came from. I haven't forgotten not one person that has been with me since day one. You feel what I'm saying? Not one person at all. Period.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now, if we're looking again at that crystal ball, where do you see yourself in a year's time?
In a year's time, I see myself at least with 4 or 5 more wins if I'm still on the roster, because they do different things. But I at least want 4 or 5 more wins. I hope to be a champion of bare knuckle fighting championships one day. You feel what I'm saying? If that's not your goal, why are you there? That's you feel what I'm saying. Just like with any big promotion, if you're not, your goal is not to be the champion, why are you there? And I hopefully, like I tell guys all the time, like even guys in my area thinking about going to the next level. If you're there just for a paycheck, you're in it for all the wrong reasons. But if you're in the love for it, you're doing going to the next level for the love of the sport, and you want to be a champion in whatever promotion you're signed to, then by any means do what you got to do and go get it. You feel what I'm saying? Like all the other podcasts I've been on. I've probably done 50 podcasts like literally by now. This is probably a milestone. Your show is actually probably a milestone for me. And like I tell people all the time, you know, this game is not easy. It's fun. You got to have fun and be an open book to be able to enjoy this and continue to love it and accomplish your goals. You feel what I'm saying? I even tell the little kids that I see at my gym, one day you will be in my shoes if you work hard and do what you got to do to get to this level. And hopefully you're better than me and do what you got to do to not not only be better than me, but accomplish that goal that you want to accomplish.
Yeah, that's pivotal. That's pivotal, and especially for you to be able to kind of, you know, come down to their level and reason with them. The pedestal that you must be on in their, little minds and hearts and everything. And I mean, you're a giant in terms of stature as well. And for you to kind of just share space with them, as a father yourself, that's got to mean the world.
Yes, man, it means the world. Like if it wasn't for my son and a few members of my family, I wouldn't be doing this. I'd be working. I'd be just like my stepfather growing like when I was growing up. I'll have 2 or 3 jobs just to keep busy. But I wanted to do with myself and do something with myself and give my son someone to look up to. You feel what I'm saying? So, and this was a perfect opportunity to do mixed martial arts and show my son that not not only have somebody to look up to, but be a good father. You feel what I'm saying?
No, I mean, as a father myself, that's all you could ever want, right? Is to put the best example that you can for your children and the next generation of your family.
Exactly.
Now, obviously, I mean, you step into the squared circle alone, but there's a litany of people that have supported you on your journey to get where you are today. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
Shout out to Melanie Lowe. She helps me with all paperwork. She's helped manage me so far. Had a lot of ups and downs, but she's been there since day one, and helps me with a lot. Helps me with our child a lot. Even sometimes I don't get to see my son because I'm stuck in the gym. She holds it down. You feel what I'm saying? But definitely a big shout out to my teammates, all my teammates throughout the years that have helped me prepare and get this far. My coaches, everybody that's been a part of this journey, man. Like I would have never thought that I would have been where I'm at right now. You feel what I'm saying? Like I said before, this is truly amazing. It's something that, like I said before, I didn't think I would ever do, but it's a part of God's plan for me, and it's a part of my journey. And I'm going to ride this wave until the wheels fall off. And if I become a BKFC champion, I'm going to still bust my ass to keep the belt if and when I get it.
Yeah, they often say it's harder to defend the title once you become a title holder than it is to initially win it. But obviously,
Exactly.
July 24th is right around the corner, right? And a fight could potentially drop out, or a particular fighter might drop out. I know that people are going to want to go on that beast mode Brian Maxwell bandwagon and literally lift their voices to the BKFC brass to let them know that they want you on their BKFC 11 card. Where can people tag you? Where can people find you on social media to make that plan into action?
They can definitely look me up on Instagram, Lil B Dog 106 on Instagram. I also have a Brian Maxwell fighter page here on Facebook, and I definitely I have my personal Brian Maxwell regular page here on Facebook, and apparently I have a Twitter, but I don't know how to use it, and two, I probably never logged into it, but I know that I have one, but I just never use it.
Same, ditto. But dude, I mean, it's been an amazing honor. It looks like I'm the 50th podcast, so thank you for that. That nice little cherry on top. But my goodness, obviously there's a lot of people going on. I mean, going through tough times right now. What do you have for all of the people that may be listening to that, looking for some kind of strand of hope in a murky water? What advice would you give to anybody?
Man, my biggest advice, everybody stay strong. We shall get through this at some point in time. We gotta hold it down, hold ourselves down, hold our families down, and you know, hold our communities down. With also this Black Lives Matter movement, which I firmly agree with and protest to, and the positivity behind it. I love it, but the negativity behind it, it is what it is. But as an American person, and us as American people, we must band together and stick together and get through this situation and these hard times together. Together, together we rise. Apart we fall. You feel what I'm saying?
Darn right. That's it. We're always better together. That's it. Brian, thank you so much for your
Exactly.
time. This has been an amazing kind of a watershed moment in terms of my knowledge of bare knuckle. And once, I mean, let's make this the happenstance thing. We'll do a fight. We'll have you on. Let's kind of keep this going.
Exactly. Hey, once again, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to do a podcast, and with this one being a milestone, if I'm correct, this is kind of huge for me, and I'm glad I can be a part of your show. And even though things got messed up a little bit last week, I'm glad we got to rapping and got to make it happen and have a good show this week.
It's all about making it happen, my man. But thank you guys for all joining us. This has been According to Woods with Brian Maxwell, and we are out.